Yo, what is up? I'm here to talk about how to beat the Untamed Wilds from the Return to Forgotten Age on hard mode. Most important thing here is to always test at +3, mostly because of the squid. If you randomly fail some brain or agi check at -3, you're going to get poisoned. And getting poisoned is pretty annoying. It gives you trauma and also makes future checks much, much worse because now suddenly the squid is not -3, it's just an auto fail. It could really mess with your probabilities. The next thing to keep in mind is Ancient Evils. In four-player Arkham, there's going to be a lot more monsters, and there's going to be a lot more Ancient Evils. This means that a scenario that normally takes 15 Doom is going to realistically take about 10, maybe even 8 rounds, and that puts a lot of pressure on you to either go fast or play Ward of Protection to prevent this from happening. The third thing to talk about is there's a lot of willpower checks, but yes, but there's also very, very dangerous agi checks. So this is test the agi. If you fail, you're probably going to get poisoned. The way to fix this is to have at every single character be at least 3 agi so that you can commit a manual dexterity and then you're going to be at +2. Hopefully, you commit a third card or second or third card so that you really succeed. You really don't want to be poisoned. Um, Either that or you just have a random ally that you just want to get killed. So at first I was gonna just do some random team. So Skids doesn't have 3 willpower, but thankfully his innate is really good. You can spend 2 money to map, you can spend 2 money to explore, you can spend 2 money to move. And Forgotten Age really encourages all 3 things. And it really encourages you to go fast. So you can't really play too many assets. That's why I'm playing only 9. Most of the deck is just defense and skills. Kate Winthrop, I went for a clue dropping archetype. Unfortunately, I think this is a mistake in four-player Arkham. You don't have a lot of time to just be playing assets like research notes that are not fast, like magnifying glass. You don't have a lot of time to just drop clues. Ideally, you just drop clues using stuff like failed experiment or even the encounter deck like hunting shadow, which drops you a clue. Unfortunately, there's just not too many hunting shadow effects in the Forgotten Age, so this is probably an archetype that best works in Feast of Hemlock, which is where she came out. Also, having 2 willpower, again, a huge problem. There's so many willpower checks. It ends up being a huge weakness. You don't have enough guts to save you. Tommy Muldoon, probably a fine investigator. The problem is that Hank is just better in every way, has a very similar card pool, and just, yeah, he's just better. What else is there to say? Hard mode, I guess Tommy Muldoon is just not as viable. Alessandro ended up being very, very effective. The only problem is that after scenario 3, there's no more parlay. So you don't get the free parlay action, and you have to work really, really hard. It is a cool mechanic though. You can grift with Grizzled. Most of the enemies are humanoid, so you can just grift them. Otherwise, you could just throw Grizzled against the against Snakebite. Now, I went with a new team because I kept failing the first 2 scenarios. First up, we have Agnes. She has the requirements: at least 3 willpower, at least 3 agi. Otherwise, very standard Dunwich Mystic. Writer Seeking level 1, extremely, extremely important. I guess it's technically level 0. It's going to pick you up about 6 to 10 clues. And because we don't have a second Seeker, this is like the primary way, the second most clues that we can get. There's also Onyx Pentacle, mostly because there's going to be some Vengeance enemies. So it's actually better to evade those idiots. And Forbidden Knowledge is a great way to just free action kill something with 1 health. Next, we have Safine Rousseau. She's the one taking the Drawn to the Flame Delve to Deep. This really helps alleviate our Agnes deck requirements because she can just take them on. She's also using St. Hubert's Keys because she only has 2 book. Most uh, rogues actually have decent book, but for some reason Safina has lower, mostly because she has a whopping 4 willpower for Agi, so she can throw on the Guts and Unexpected Courage. She's going to be testing at +3 against most of the Treachery deck. Pretty impressive overall. Very awkward though if you don't draw Leo DeLuca, as usual. Next we have Hankin. He's basically the same as Tommy Muldoon. I'm pretty impressed with self-sacrifice. He helps with the card draw. Grizzled. I chose Serpent and Hazard instead of Humanoid and Hazard, mostly because all the poison enemies they don't have Humanoid trait, but they do have the Serpent trait. And if we want to avoid getting poisoned, these 2 traits are pretty good. If you just want this Grizzled to apply to more things, though, Humanoid is pretty amazing at that as well. Otherwise, just very standard Guardian esque character. Next, we have Mandy. Unfortunately, because we have a survivor on our team, we have a rogue on our team, we have a mystic on our team, we basically are left with no good events for Mandy to pick up. I just figured that Honed Instinct was the best to pick up, especially when you combine plus actions with Seekers. It tends to be pretty busted. Otherwise, just a very tabooed Mandy. So far, it's been going really well because everyone has at least 3 willpower, 3 agi. Every time we do these difficulty 3 checks, we throw on like a couple unexpected courages, we throw on guts, and then we basically succeed at everything. It does require a little bit of luck, but we can get through it.